Oh, I can hear it reduxing. Like, over again. It's my favorite. Wait, no, that means I can hear myself. Okay, I muted it just in time. Whew. Hi, welcome to my house, where there's always a microphone on.
And usually a polo.
Polo, you're always on. You're always plugged into the mainframe. What a good child. Take our word for it. Polo is under the table. Mm-hmm. Welcome. We're here to solve a mystery. Before we say anything about mystery solving or anything like that, let me first clarify. Lobos is out again this week. That's clear. He's not, like, gone. He's just not here right now. Which isn't to say that he's going to show up later. I've made this weird. The other thing that's important to note is that, hey, we've got a subscription button now. Yeah, it's true. It's so cool. There's even, like, a little alert that I've set up that maybe if someone is feeling like supporting the stream, we'll actually get to hear the alert. It's from one of my favorite games. But that's really exciting. Equinox is actually already subscribed. I'm very grateful to him for that. If you subscribe, there's a cool little D20 crit emote that you can get. That's kind of neat.
I thought it was an explosive number of our average score in Sherlock.
Wow. You need to be more positive in your life.
I was being more positive. Our average score is actually less than 20.
You're so downtrodden. This is our finale of the Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective expansion, Jack the Ripper and West End Adventures. What were you saying about butterflies before we went live?
Well, the only animal-related thing I could find in the entire newspaper for this case was something about butterflies and moths, and it's not even very interesting. But it's breaking tradition for me to read an article from the newspaper ahead of the actual case.
It's true. Let me say to the social networks that we're live, given that we're going early, we're going early. I'm stumbling left and right. First, I can't remember whether or not my friend Lobos is here. And then I can't remember whether or not there's a button present or not. Don't worry, though. I'm definitely not the murderer. This week's episode is Brendan is definitely the murderer. Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Oh, that's kind of a plot twist.
Well, let's get started.
Shall we?
Get to the basement. Oh, goodness. This case takes place on Tuesday, October the 18th, 1898, and it is indeed called A Simple Case of Murder. There is, unlike much of our other cases, some italicized text leading up to this case. I'll read it anon. Sir Clayton Partridge, Baronet, was at the bottom of the nobility ladder. Sir Clayton Partridge, Baronet, Baronet is a noble title, was in a good position on the list of depositories of the Bank of England. It was therefore not surprising that when Sir Clayton Partridge, Baronet, was suspected of murder, the public was interested. We could also expect that Sir Clayton Partridge, Baronet, went calling on 221B Baker Street. But Holmes was already busy with another case, a murder which was taking all of his time and energy. Third Crow had just been murdered at the Tower of London, which was, of course, infinitely more important than the story of Sir Clayton Partridge, Baronet. I'm sorry, Sir Clayton. I have no time to spare you, Holmes said 10 times fast, without raising his eyes from the chemist's table since the arrival of Sir Clayton and his solicitor, Sir William Morris, 20 minutes ago. He scratches off a few chips from the quill of a black feather to immerse them in a vial filled with red liquid, which he then shakes vigorously. He places the tube in the light end and, without removing his eyes from it, speaks to Sir Clayton again. My friends here, under the guidance of Wiggins, can take care of your case. Aha! The contents of the vial have become slightly violet. Holmes places the tube in a display case and heads to the exit. He grabs his woolen hat as he goes by and is about to head out. Mr. Holmes, my client risks a death sentence. Yes, that's true. Good luck, Wiggins. Tell Mrs. Hudson not to prepare a meal for me tonight. I've never seen that, Sir William Morris seems on the verge of choking. That's right, declares Holmes as he leaves in a hurry. Using bees as a murder weapon. No one's ever seen that. What do you think his voice is lost down the stairs? I'm inclined to follow him. I'm much more interested in this bee-related murder. William Morris, for his part, crumples into the rattan chair facing Wiggins, looking as defeated as his client. Since he arrived, Clayton Partridge has been silently sitting on a sofa, letting his solicitor speak for him. It seems time for him to intervene. William, explain to these gentlemen the reason for our visit. We're not in a position to be difficult. Any help would be precious. You said so yourself. Yes, Sir Clayton. Morse pulls out a handkerchief from his pocket and wipes his forehead. Could I please have a glass? Wiggins pours a glass of whiskey for each. Morris downs his. Partridge is content in staring at his. Thank you, says Morris as he puts down his glass and regains his breath. I'll start at the beginning. Sir Clayton is a rich bachelor, hard worker who gives himself the occasional moment of rest at the gaming table. That's where he met Mignon Pierre, a young and pretty widow, well known in the casinos all over France. Mignon is, of course, Mignon. 6 months ago, she settled down in London and set up a clandestine betting parlor with her mother and her brother, an upper-class establishment likely to attract the city's elite. Sir Clayton was often invited. Sir Clayton, who has remained immobile until then, drinks his whiskey. Wiggins pours him another glass. Sir Clayton takes it without saying anything. His solicitor continues. Madame Pierre was a good hostess, and her apartment quickly became the social center of gentlemen who liked to deal cards and drink brandy in quiet and intimate surroundings. But it quickly appeared that not all present were gentlemen, and that fortune seemed to smile upon those more often than others. Sir Clayton lost over £10,000 in about 2 weeks. Sir Clayton downs his glass, hands it to Wiggins, who fills it up again. When Lord Heathcliff finally proved the trickery, and Mignon was behind it, Sir Clayton leaps up and slams his glass onto the table. Oh, dear Lord, William! They don't need to know all of the details of that sordid story. Oh, my goodness. Squeaky El Lobo, bless you, has just subscribed.
Hooray.
Hello, Cowlin. Hello, Squeaky. Thank you so much.
Yay.
Gosh, enjoy your emoji.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that Carly Rae No, I'm not. That's not a good joke. I'm abandoning it. I'm jumping off the truck as it flies flaming off the cliff. Quickly, back to this murder, of which we've not heard of any murder yet. Clayton's eyes are spewing flames. His hands are balled on his hips. She had the audacity to come to my house to demand the money that those jackals had extorted me by cheating. Of course I refused to pay. I showed that hussy out. Clayton helps himself to another glass of whiskey. That meeting took place yesterday, continues Morris. Last night, the body of Madame Pierre was found in Sir Clayton's library. She had been murdered. The inspector from Scotland Yard, Mr. Gregson, clearly stated that Sir Clayton was the main suspect. That little weasel, mutters Sir Clayton. He downs another whiskey. To suspect someone of Sir Clayton's stature is absurd. Morse pulls out an envelope from his pocket and hands it to Wiggins. If you would have the grace to take on the case, we'd be deeply grateful. I've given you in this letter the names of the other people defrauded by Madame Pierre. If you need more information, you can contact me. Sir Clayton and Sir William have already taken their hats back and are about to leave when Wiggins interrupts them. I have a few other questions. I'm sorry, we're late for another appointment. You'll be able to find me at my office later today. Good day, gentlemen. After their departure, Wiggins opens up Sir William's envelope. It contains the names of 3 openly well-to-do gentlemen. Their names are Maynard Sheffield, Auguste Heathcliff, and Sir Edmond Richards, which are all written here for your perusal. Well, it certainly seems to me as though Sir Clayton did it.
Well, we have a newspaper.
Well done!
Oh. Okay. We have at least one newspaper article that is of some interest. It's about the murder, in fact.
Oh.
Does
Does it name Sir Clayton as the murderer?
It says that she was found in his home.
Yes. Good.
Let's see. Body discovered. The lifeless body of Madame Mignon Pierre was discovered yesterday evening in the Belgravia home of Sir Clayton Partridge. Whatever that word you kept using.
Baronet.
Baronet, yeah. Servants made the grisly discovery in Sir Clayton's library while the Baronet was away from home spending the afternoon at his gentleman's club. Although the Metropolitan Police have, as of yet, released no information concerning the cause of death, it is suspected that the French socialite was the victim of foul play. The coroner's inquest will be held Thursday morning at St. George's Hospital at 10 o'clock. Notably, it's only Tuesday, which means that hasn't happened yet, and won't happen, I assume, during the course of our adventures. Oh, you said there was some italicized thingy.
Yes, that was that bit that I read before, which is strange that it was presented in that way. It's almost as if it's been written by someone else's hand. This section here.
Oh, yeah, I see, yeah.
It's information that seems perfectly relevant to the case, but usually that's just presented as text during the descriptive paragraph. I wonder if perhaps this is a real person that's being...
It might well be.
Let's see. A Google search for
I would be
one.
careful searching for it. If it's actually a real murder, very likely it's the only notable thing about him in the 21st
That's fine.
century.
So the first... well, I'm not going to Google who did it. I know who did it. It was him. There's not an immediate entry for Sir Clayton Partridge, so I don't think that this is a famous murder accusee from...
It really did say Baronet after his name every time.
My goodness, so generous. Squeaky Lobo donated $5. My
thank you.
Squeaky, my goodness.
Sorry, you were looking at it. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, it's okay.
I'm a bad person.
Possibly how you spell Baronet.
Squeaky El Lobo says, "Who's co-wash?" You know, I've just been watching Twin Peaks, which has when people are in like the Velvet Room. I think what they've done is they've written the text and then transcribed it backwards and then recorded people saying that pronouncement backwards and then playing it backwards from there so that it sounds like they're almost saying those words, but they put subtitles there. Anyway, I wonder if that's what Squeaky sounds like. That's why he always sounds like someone using the language from Shadow of the Colossus. Course! And then it changes just to English. Maybe this is the translation of what was said. I shouldn't make fun of someone that just gave me $5. I'm sorry. This is a simple case of murder. You solved the Mississippi. Now ghost there and drinkings some skidrinks. Dirks, corn, sausage, casserole, souffle, mustard. I love you all, especially Polo. I love you too, Squeaky. Thank you for subscribing and thank you for donating. You are the wind beneath my pillow. Goodness. I think we should investigate the scene of the crime.
I like that idea.
I think the directory is closest to you, Brennan.
Yeah, here's the directory.
Yes.
Looking for Partridge.
Presumably under Partridge, and not B for Baronet.
Yes. Sir Clayton is at 60 Southwest.
60 Southwest.
Alright, one quick moment. 60 Southwest.
Why not take it away?
Okay. So
Him. By that I mean Sir Clayton Partridge. Take him to jail because he's guilty of murder.
60
Oh, boy.
Southwest.
This is quite large. The large residence, which, as I established, is quite large,
Yes.
located facing Hyde Park, reveals an elegant and well-furnished interior, one worthy of one of. Excuse me. Still have whatever was in my throat the other week. That's weird. One of London's most well-known bachelors. Sir Clayton isn't there. Neil Parker, the major domo, leads us to the library. It's in this room that Sir Clayton and Madame Pierre met? That's right, answers Parker. I brought her here myself. Where was the body found? I found her here, behind the desk. I hope that Scotland Yard will soon give us the authorization to clean up. Many bloodstains sully the room. The room is filled with items from the world of horse racing.
Oh.
The wall to the right is covered in paintings of horses. Facing the entrance, French doors lead to the immaculately manicured lawn and the garden. At the back of the garden, bushes are lined up along the wall with red bricks atop which sit wrought iron decorations. What can you tell us about the meeting between Sir Clayton and Madame Pierre? Not much. Sir Clayton was unhappy to see this lady and started shouting as soon as I left the room. I was given to understand that Mary, the chambermaid, got to witness this animated discussion. I was in another wing of the house and don't quite know what happened. You didn't see Madame Pierre after that? No, I only discovered discovered her body in the evening. When did Madame Pierre arrive? Around noon. Then you only found her body in the evening? Around 7:30. I came in to lock the doors. The books in front of the safe had been moved, and I wanted to put them back in their place. That's when I saw her body lying on the floor. One of Sir Clayton's canes, bloodied, was near her, as was a pistol. Parker shows us the stain between the sofa and the doors. Was Sir Clayton there? No, he came back around 9 o'clock. When did he leave? According to the driver, he left a short time after the arrival of Madame Pierre. I assumed that she had left the same time. You didn't find that unusual? No. Sir Clayton informed me in the morning that he'd be going to St. James Square Circle and that he wouldn't be present for dinner. Sir Clayton doesn't have the habit of letting me know the exact time of his movements unless it's of use to me. The driver brought him to his club and had been instructed to fetch him at 8:30. How many employees are there here? 6 in the household. Myself, Mrs. Anderson, the cook, Molly, the assistant cook, Mary, the chambermaid, Kendall, the valet, and Hannah, the seamstress. And 5 outside. Rudd, the gardener, and Jimmy, his companion, Wells, the driver, and the 2 Tommies, the stable boys. That's all, asked Wiggins, a hint of irony in his voice. Yes, we're only a small team here in London, answers Parker in a deadpan tone. I should read the tone before I read the words, I guess.
No, you're good. You're good.
And they were all here on the day of the murder? Yes, it was a normal work day. Did you call the police as soon as you found the body? No, I waited for Sir Clayton's return. Did you hear shots? No, as I told the police, I heard shouting between Sir Clayton and Madame Pierre in the library, but I didn't dally by the door. It's a large house, and I spent the day in the basement preparing for Sir Clayton's sojourn in the countryside. Did one of the other household staff hear something? Not according to them. Parker's tone lets us understand that he'd rather go back to his daily task than waste his time repeating what he's already told the police. We let him go after asking him to send the chambermaid to us while we inspect the room. There are a few bloodstains near the French doors, and a larger one near the bookcase, where Madame Pierre's body was found. We're interrupted by Mary's arrival, and she has very little to add to Parker's story. Yes, sir, I came to bring tea to Sir Clayton and Madame in the library. I had never seen the master so agitated. He was red like a beetroot. They stopped shouting when I came in. He told me to put down the platter and leave. Mary, I know you're not the sort to listen at doors, but maybe you heard something important? Wiggins asks nicely. The young lady lowers her head and whispers to us, Yes, sir. I heard Sir Clayton say that she hadn't been honest with him, but that's all I heard. I left as fast as I could. Thank you, Mary, says Wiggins. That will be all. We'll go and interrogate the staff outside. Mary leads us to the service door. She points out the stable is on the other side of the house. We find the driver. Oh, good. It's not the whole other page. They're in the company of 2 young boys, we suppose are the stable boys. We're investigating the murder of Madame Pierre. Sir Clayton asked us to cooperate with you. Have you seen or heard anything that could shed light on yesterday's events? Wells starts to speak. I don't really know what to tell you. I saw Madame get out of a cab. Tommy and I had finished preparing the brougham? That's that word from last time.
Yeah. The bruggy.
Yeah, to bring the master out to the club. He arrived a few moments later and we left. We turned to the 2 stable boys. And you, did you notice anything unusual? They shake their heads in denial in unison. We thank them and ask them to lead us to the gardener. Be careful where you step, young man. Don't go trampling my flowers. Rudd's face has the tanned look of a man used to working outside. Mr. Rudd, the police believe that Sir Clayton has murdered Mignon Pierre. Can you help us in our investigation? It's the young Jimmy who answers us. We already told all this to the police. There's not much more to add. We were having lunch with Wells and the two Tommies when the lady arrived. From this side of the house, we would not be able to hear anything from the other side. Mr. Rudd was caring for the roses, and I was busy trimming the bushes near the path. Tears suddenly appear in Mr. Rudd's eyes. Sir Clayton is innocent. They're just like those policemen who don't believe what they're told. Gentlemen, I think we have nothing more to add, intervenes Wells. Come on, Rudd. I'll take you back to your house. We leave them to finish and have a walk around the garden. Wiggins exclaims, Look! From the other side of the library's French doors, small traces of blood leading away from the house. We follow them to the wall. What's up there? Wiggins finds a foothold and climbs up to grab something caught on the wrought iron. It's a bit of cloth. In combed wool. Looks like it's from a man's trousers. So, stretch.
Well done.
A lot of stuff going on.
Indeed.
We found the fragment of trousers.
That seems very strange to me that if he was so agitated with her, he wouldn't make sure she had left his house before he left.
Does seem strange, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Especially since there was a safe in the library. I mean, if you thought someone had already cheated you out of money once and was trying to extort more money from you, would you just kind of mosey on out of the house, leaving them in the room if you're safe? I mean, it is a safe, so theoretically secure, but I don't know. That's the whole...
But regardless, she wasn't welcome there, if
Yeah.
all this is to be believed, so...
And yet no one seems to have commented on that as an oddity. I mean,
Yeah.
everyone in the house... Well, no, they said they assumed that she had left with him.
Yeah. So much so that I have to think that there's a pretty good chance that she did leave and then came back later.
That's
Or
entire-
pretended to leave and hid or something.
With the, do we think it's a carriage that we could look up public information on, or is that his private bro?
I think that there's no chance that he would probably
Yeah.
send his carriage, and in any case, he would have taken his carriage to the St. James Club. So unless she left with him, then she would have had to have found another ride. So I think speaking to the carriage boys would certainly be worth our time.
Sure, 1 second, I'm trying to check on detail.
Yeah. We also still don't know the actual cause of death.
No, we don't. It could be
Yeah.
any number of the dozen legendary weapons surrounding her, apparently.
Like a painting of a horse.
Or a wall.
I wanted to review the reason that the fellow came back in the room. I think it was something about the safe, but I want to see what it was.
Yeah, he said that there were some books out of place that he wanted to clean up.
Yeah, the books in front of the safe. In front of the safe, as in hiding where the safe usually
Yeah.
is.
I guess so, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting too. Why were they moved? Anyway, so we said we were going to go to the carriage company next?
Yes, I think that seems like a worthwhile place.
Alright, that is at... Oops. Oh.
If nothing else, that'll help eliminate possibilities.
Yes.
I did notice the newspaper had a lot of carriage-related stuff in it for some reason too.
Interesting.
Horses, carriages, and company. Stylish four-wheeled dog cart. This carriage, used only a few times, this is literally an ad for a single carriage, not for a company. No, wait. The header for the entire section is horses, carriages, and company.
Yeah, I said there's a whole lot in there.
No, I thought that was the header for this particular ad, but that's for
I
this
see.
column, I guess.
Okay.
So there's one place that is selling one particular carriage. There is the Baker Street Carriage Bazaar, the finest expedition of carriages and harness in the kingdom, upward of 800 of all descriptions, fortnightly sales by auction. Nearly new landau to be sold. I don't know what a landau is, unless this is that moon from Escaflowne. Oh, someone is dead. Okay, that's worth knowing. Victoria, expensively finished and fitted with India rubber types. All manner of things. Yes, you're right. There's Cook's Pleasures to Palestine. There's some salacious material. Yes. What is there at the depot?
Alright. Wiggins, I hope you weren't thinking that Sir Clayton Partridge, Baronet, would use our services. No, but possibly his guests, notably Madame Perry. We thus spend the following hour poring over the cab's registries and find a good amount of coming and going between Sir Clayton's residence and 27 Hales Street Southeast. We also notice a fare from Hales Street to 73 Wigmore Street Northwest early this morning. Ah, yes, says one of the drivers. I remember that short bit of a woman. I've happened to transport her many times. The man with whom she rode didn't seem to be the easygoing type. He escorted her to the cab's door each time. That's it, but let me stop briefly and write some thingy things down. Or do you want to look see things too?
Well, what is there to transcribe from that entry? I'm sorry.
Oh, well, the addresses.
Oh, well, I've got them written down.
Oh, okay.
Shall we go to one of them? Like the one that went back and forth?
Sure.
Presumably her apartment?
Yeah.
That's 27 Southeast.
Okay. 27 Southeast.
We knock many times at the door, but no one answers. Wiggins pulls out his small lockpick from his pocket, and, after having quickly glanced around, works on the lock for a few moments before opening the door. Our first impression is that this furnished apartment is nothing special, but we quickly notice that it's not only the lodgings of a bachelor. There's an undeniable female touch. Wiggins, look! There is a framed photo showing a young couple on a piece of furniture, and the woman is no other than Mignon Pierre. Someone left this place in a hurry. The room has been turned upside down, clothing is scattered here and there. Looks like the women's clothes are all still here, but all of the men's clothes are gone.
Sorry,
Whoever was living for her is making a run for it.
I think you're right.
Question. What was the other address?
73 Northwest.
And what was that? Where was the trip between there and between?
27 Southeast. I think that's probably our man.
Indeed. It was 73
Northwest.
Northwest.
Brandon, would you like to pay that destination a visit to see if we can turn up a scoundrel of some sort?
7-3 North.
7-3 N dubs.
What's the first one? Okay. Oh no, all the pages.
Oh no! To access this content, send $5.99 unmarked envelope to my basement. You can do it. You can find it. I believe in you.
Find the Northwest. Where's the Northwest?
Try to remember the basics of
Oh,
compasses.
Alphabet. Southwest. Oh, Northwest. is
Northwest. Yes.
small. I kept missing it because it's not even.
Oh, that's very small. Bless you.
73.
73.
The man who opens the door is tall, his back hunched, and he wears a somber look. He doesn't invite us in. What do you want? We're investigating the murder of Mignon Pierre. When did you see her for the last time? I don't know her. I've never met her. And Roger Prescott? Is that someone we know? Apparently we're supposed to know that by now. Sequence breaking.
Not one of the names we were given.
What do you want with him? I've got nothing to say to you about him. He's a good man. It's his mother who turned him into who he is. She took my
And who is that exactly?
She took my boy away from me. He doesn't even bear my name anymore. Now leave us alone, he says as he slams his door. So we may have found the scoundrel's dad?
Mysterious.
Indeed. I'm still trying to catch up on my scribbling.
Found my newspaper.
Sounds like a trip to the directory, although I feel like that name might be familiar for some reason too. Not from necessarily anything we've read so far. Where was Northwest at? Because you had trouble finding it, and you're probably about to have trouble finding it.
73 Northwest.
Yeah. Oh, there it is.
Prescott.
Okay.
Curious.
Man, I was looking through the things, and I see Cuban the Cyclone, and it's like, oh, it's like an actual tragic cyclone that caused a bunch of shipwrecks.
Yeah, it's not the name of a luchador.
That is exactly where my brain went.
Yep. Could you pass me the directory, please?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
So there's a Roger Prescott, and apparently his mother is a bad influence, and his name has been changed.
Yes.
Wish there was a reverse lookup so we could find out who we just talked to at 73 Northwest.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. What I would like to know is if we can get in touch with either Mignon's mother or brother, who are apparently her accomplices in this tidy little enterprise that they had going. Perhaps speaking to some other people on the envelope would be a good way to look them up.
Indeed.
Oh, is this one today? Yes, it's stylish horses.
Yeah.
So I'll get
Kind of a redundancy.
Okay.
What do we think? Someone from the envelope?
Maybe. I gotta suppose there was a Prescott in the directory. Not
Oh, I wasn't looking it up, actually.
Not that it would matter much, because apparently his name has been changed at some point.
Or that could be his changed name.
There is a Roger Prescott, and it's at 27 Southeast.
Oh, okay, so that was his apartment.
Well, yeah, that's what I
Okay.
figured.
Okay.
Good to have a.
So that would actually,
confirmed out.
if we could reverse look up, that's where we would have figured out that name.
Yes.
Indeed. Well, if it's a legal name change, there might be record of it.
Just so.
Ooh.
That's a good idea. Is that Disraeli's territory? Where is the dang?
Oh, I'm hiding it as usual. Yeah, legal. Well, it could be that, or it could also be Somerset House. It says births, deaths.
Somerset, I think, is where we're looking.
Yeah, it says births, deaths, marriages, and wills.
Yes.
All right. Then we will try that. Let's see.
Yeah, that place hasn't come up that many times. This definitely seems like a very clear case.
Somerset House. 17 Central. Okay. 17 West Central. Where is it? Oh. Ooh. Promising start. This is very interesting, says Wiggins as he looks over the information he gleaned at the Somerset House. It would seem that Hilda Prescott uses her maiden name. The birth certificate shows that she was born in Dorchester in the year 1837. She married Carl Philip Sanders in 1859. They had a son, Roger Prescott Sanders, born on June the 19th, 1864. There are no divorce papers. And what do the recent marriage licenses you asked for the employee for say? This past September the 28th, Clayton Partridge and Mignon Pierre got married.
Okay.
Indeed. So Prescott would apparently be his current name, I guess, since she uses her maiden name. Because she married Carl Philip Sanders.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
So, right, okay. Do we have a newspaper from September the 28th or somewhere in that neighborhood?
We have one from the 30th.
That sounds like a promising start.
Let's see. Yeah, there is a thing about a problem at a gaming table, which is kind of interesting.
Oh!
But I think it's in Germany.
Oh,
But it involved
that's
two
right.
Englishmen.
Oh, okay, then maybe that is it. Good.
Yeah, here. You can look at that while I'm writing stuff
Yeah.
down, because I'm still behind on my ratings.
Writing stuff down.
Yeah.
Captain Bainbridge, Mr. Roughton, swords were drawn. Yes, very well. Similar, but I don't think that's our
Probably not.
situation.
Yeah, I would have pounced on it earlier if I.
Ah,
Sorry.
no, it's fine. I'm just
Ah.
startled. There's Huagarina, and
Oh, there's the conclusion of Fatal Quarrel. No, that's maybe something separate. I can't tell.
do we have any other newspapers from that?
Almost all of the newspapers are pretty close together. Here's one from September 19th, or do you mean disqualify
There's
ones from
September
before?
24.
I mean, there could be something announcing the ceremony or something like that. It doesn't necessarily have to be after.
That's true.
Oh, this one's very short.
Yes.
It does not have very much going on.
Police blotter is unfortunately our one from the 30th, which makes it unlikely it would announce a wedding. I have to think it must not have been announced though, because I mean, you didn't mention it, and you seemed to think we weren't going to find out.
He didn't mention being married.
Yeah, I didn't even mention it in the paper, which is odd as well.
Yeah, I mean, he's such a well-known man about town.
Indeed. I feel like his mother might be our excellent next stop.
Maybe so, maybe so. Let's see.
Look back up what his mother's name
Um,
was.
Well, it was. Unfortunately, it ended in either Pierre or Sanders, and there are no Pierre addresses, and there are only Sanders in the book. Because
She might still be.
excuse me,
under Prescott.
Prescott. That's what you meant. That's what I meant. Excuse me. Yes. So Carl Sanders is the fellow that we met at 73 Northwest, but under Prescott we have H. Prescott.
Hilda
and a-
Prescott.
Hilda Prescott. Perfect. 89 Southwest. May I? Oh, I'm going to speak to a lady.
89 Southwest, you said?
89 Southwest. 89 Queen's Walk, in point of fact, has the princely look that such a house near Buckingham Palace should have. Deep carpets, comfortable couches, and a game room containing a half-dozen tables, 2 roulette wheels, and so many pieces of Warhammer terrain. Mrs. Prescott is dressed in black, but despite her mourning clothes, her reddened eyes, and her advanced age, she remains a very beautiful woman. Please forgive me, sirs. This loss deeply afflicts me. I'll try to answer your questions, but we understand, madam. We'll try to be brief, says Wiggins with sincere compassion. I understand that the moment is painful, Mrs. Prescott, and that our questions are delicate, but we need to ask them of you. We have been told that betting sessions took place here at night. Wiggins' attempt to pass that statement as a question in the hope that Mrs. Prescott doesn't force him to be more direct. Young man, our home is an open and welcoming space for a certain portion of society who wish to gather in order to relax. I don't understand what you're getting at. To the illusions of cheating which taint the games taking place here, and to the stories which talk about the actions of your daughter here and on the continent, weren't... I'm sorry, young man, I won't stay here and listen to you tarnish the memory of a pure young lady. I'll have to ask you to leave. One more question, if you will. What's the relationship between Madame Pierre and Sir Clayton? They were engaged. They were to announce their wedding next week. Engaged, exclaims Wiggins. Yes, Mignon was so happy. Who would have thought? She dabs her eye with a black silk handkerchief. I must leave you now, she concludes in a firm tone.
Well, her information's a bit off. She
Indeed.
clearly was not in their intimate circles if she didn't know they were already married. But she did know they were engaged, which is interesting.
Maybe they were secretly married and were planning to make it public? I don't know.
Maybe. Maybe. Can I have the newspaper set?
Certainly.
Of course, just probably want to filter out any 1888 ones, which unfortunately
fair.
which are unfortunately also mostly in September, which is kind of unfortunate.
There are-
Oh, shucks.
There's going to be 4 1888s.
Yeah,
right?
there will be 4. Yeah, in fact, if we can find them and just set them aside, we can probably save ourselves some happy troubles.
beyond important. And it's like,
Because almost all the other papers will be in September, so there's actually a fair bit of...
it's like the 7-year-old soldier doll. And a diabolical murder in Transylvania.
Well, you know, sometimes you gotta get murdered in Transylvania. Attacked by a bear! It never fails to catch my attention.
Or the howling of the wolves.
Oh, those big old wolves.
Wolf.
Hmm. Well, who should we speak to next?
Let me review the Central Carriage Depot entry one more time.
Sure.
Oops. Wrong book file. West Central. Escorted her to the cab store each time. The man with whom she rode didn't seem to be the easygoing type. He escorted her to the cab's door each time. So does that mean there was always a man with her?
I assume that's our
Isn't that...
Prescott.
Yeah.
Sure, but that means he was also there for the trip to what's his name?
No, escorted her to the door of the cat carriage. That's how I'm reading that.
But it says the man with whom she rode.
Oh, excuse me. Okay.
That seems to at least strongly imply that he went with her on these trips.
Okay.
I've happened to transport her many times, the man with whom she rode. Yeah. Which, granted, it's probably Roger, but it makes it interesting to note that he was apparently hanging around somewhere. Interesting.
Maybe
Seems
he
like-
jumped the fence.
We've already been to his place, though, and we didn't really get any new information on where he might be hanging out.
Yeah, we know that he's on the run.
Yeah.
Which may be the last we see of him until the denouement.
Indeed. Prescott. Which, even though there hadn't been a coroner's request, it's one of those things. I wonder if criminal analysis might be able to tell us something about that piece of cloth.
Potentially. As always, if there's gossip in the upper classes, Langdale Pike is a reliable go-to.
It's not a bad idea. This is definitely the upper classes. You want to do that?
Maybe.
Yeah, I'm not 100% on
It-
it myself.
I feel like we still haven't examined the body or the material evidence. Although I don't know if they're going to ask us that. That's one of those things that's like the how may not be as important as the who and the why.
Yeah, well, they said the coroner's inquest will be Thursday. I don't know if that means we can't find out anything about that
okay.
like we
I
usually
didn't
could.
catch that detail.
Yeah, they said St. George's on Thursday. And it's only Tuesday, but...
Right.
I mean, they might still let us look at the body.
True.
I think that'd be worth a try.
Okay. And that would be...
St. George's Hospital, I assume.
Yeah.
Well, we can cheat if it bounces.
Yes, we can
You
always cheat.
Yes.
St. George's Hospital is at 57 Southwest. Is this a Brandon turn?
I don't remember. Is it?
Didn't I just read? And what was our last place?
Yeah, yours was Hilda, so yeah, it is
Yes.
his turn.
Okay. So what was this?
57 Southwest.
I'll write it lightly until we know it's...
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Very, very small, but yes, we did admit a patient who had suffered a gunshot wound around yesterday afternoon. A man with a foreign accent, somewhere European. Of course, we called the police, but they arrived. But when they arrived, the man had gone. That's not what we were looking for.
What?
But boy, am I interested that we found it.
What was the address again that I didn't write very well?
57 Southwest.
57 Southwest. Okay, so that gun was probably may well have been fired, although it's London.
Yeah, that could be completely disconnected.
It could be disconnected, but there was a gun at the scene.
Yes, there was.
blood leading to where the
Ah.
person
Oh.
Yeah, I can.
Okay.
Gunshot wound, patient.
So I'm going to guess that the victim actually fired the pistol, and that the cane was the murder weapon until we find evidence to further substantiate or
Yes.
European accent.
yeah.
Yeah, that's not much help. It left before police arrived. That was a lucky cut, but So I mean, at this point, I think it's pretty clear.
Partridge probably wasn't the murderer. It definitely, almost certainly was this guy who got shot, ran away, and then dodged the police.
Perhaps.
Although, I guess I'm trying to figure out why.
Yeah, that's
Like, if it's the, like, if it's the press guy, he didn't seem like he had an accent.
I mean, his dad spoke strangely.
Well, he spoke morosely, I guess. I don't remember if he actually...
His name was Carl with a K, which
Yeah.
would suggest German descent.
Okay.
yeah.
I did not see that spell.
Yeah.
Updating my Carl.
Yeah. I still need to play that. Not the first one, obviously. The new hotness.
It's a shame the Carriage Depot didn't catch anything about that. Thinky.
Okay, well, what are we trying to prove now? We're trying to prove that this fellow went back with Mignon with the intention, presumably, of getting into the safe and getting this money.
Or whatever's in it. It could just be family documents for all we know.
Sure. I would like to know more about this fellow Roger Prescott. If he's a no-good sort of fellow, we've got a good source for no-good sorts of fellows.
Porky?
Porky.
Alright.
Brandon, what do you think about paying a visit
Usually goes
to the
somewhere.
pork?
Yeah.
He's always got something to say.
Porky. 52, you see.
Easy. Put 5 and the 2. Stop showing me the thing I don't want to see yet. It's upside down. Let's see. Madame Pierre, smiles Porky. One heck of a woman. If I had been a few years younger and quite a bit richer,
And not a pig.
I would have had a chance to call on her. I've always loved poisonous plants. Well, if you don't care about her mastiff of a, air quotes, brother Prescott, well, he's not actually air quotes, it's just regular quotes. You're not the first to ask for information on her. 2 weeks ago, a private detective, Mr. Dubois, slipped me a few bills to get information on her. He asked me to get in touch with him at Madame Charpentier's boarding house if I had any news. That could actually be the accented man.
Perhaps.
Private detective at a boarding house? Most of the private detective agencies have offices in London.
Yes.
There's like a whole section of them.
Yes.
Yes.
Yet he's staying at a boarding house. That would imply he might not be from the area.
Maybe so, maybe so. Yes, I think you're going to have to look up the boarding house, as I am not sure how to spell Sharpay.
Charpentier or something.
Sharpentor.
Yes.
Sharpie.
Stay at my hostel, this I command.
Oh, there it is. It's the one under Madam.
Ha!
I would have expected them to be.
The English.
I would have expected them to be by the name and not by the.
Where are we going?
59 Southeast.
59 Southeast.
Okay, 1 sec.
We're hot on the trail of another detective.
Madam Sharpie. 59.
Detective battle.
We'll have to detective duel him before we earn his respect.
So 59 Southeast, right?
59 South. East.
Adam Sharpie.
I play Pot of Clues, which allows me to draw 2 more clues.
Oh no.
Polo.
Polo is not a detective.
It would be if you
He's
got
a
him a little
dog.
detective hat and a little pipe.
Polo.
He would look exactly like a detective.
Polo, don't smoke.
Alright. Madam Sharpie glares at our band with a reproving gaze. Wiggins puts his hat back on reflexively, then dusts his jacket. We wish to see Mr. Dubois, he says. How's it
Nothing.
pronounced?
No, nothing.
How's it pronounced?
No, it's exactly what you said.
He says with a more youthful voice than usual. Wait here, please. After a few moments, Madame Sharpie comes back and leads us to the room of Mr. Paul. Blonde in his 30s, an aquiline nose and sharp eyes. He's still sitting in his
Sharpie eyes.
Yes. He's still sitting in his sofa and gives us a polite smile. I was actually leading a private, in quotes, not, well, like single quotes, investigation on Madame Pierre, who is wanted in my country. He confirms for us. You see, this wasn't her first con. It seems that it cost her some misfortune this time. If you'd like to look at my file, remaining seated and pointing at the desk behind us, of course I've informed the authorities. The file in question contains a copy of the birth certificate of Mignon Pierre, née Albert Claude, in the south of France, transcripts of her travels to London this year, and various newspaper clippings. Have you followed Madame Pierre? Last week, yes. Which caused me to encounter another detective investigating Madame Pierre, but unfortunately not this week. I was collecting the final evidence to get Madame Pierre extradited to France, which is no easy task, I tell you. I hope my employer will still want to pay me. Who is your employer? Come on, gentlemen, you'll understand that I need to remain discreet. That is part of the job. In any case, this has little importance for your investigation. I won't walk you to the door, you know the way.
He might have been shot.
He didn't stand up, that's true. He avoided it twice, in fact.
Sure.
Didn't greet us when we came in, and he wouldn't walk us to the door. Another investigator.
He would definitely have a somewhere European accent.
Let's see. She caused trouble in France. Okay. Fortunately, we have. Well, there actually is a reason to go try and find Sir Clayton at his office, whatever that is. Because he did say, we tried to ask him some more questions during the intro, and he kind of pawned us off on later.
True.
So for once, we might actually learn something new by going back to talk to the original fellow. But what's his office?
I'm also curious, eventually, if, even though we can't look at the body, if Murray could help us analyze
The cloth and whatnot?
cloth.
Yeah.
Because
I like that idea.
I feel like the cloth might have, like, I guess, pertinent information about maybe the, like, sort of social circle that whoever wore the pants was running in.
I would be surprised if it had that
Oh.
available, since it's circumstantial as to whether or not we went to the scene of
you've
the
seen
crime.
cloth.
But I'm willing to give it a shot.
Yeah. But also, yeah, actually going and talking to the person who said, "Hey, come ask me."
I think that's the solicitor's office.
Okay.
Yes.
Where is that at?
Yeah, because we went to his house, obviously, for the
Yes.
crime scene.
So,
Mr.
why don't we take a look at and see if the criminologist has anything for us first?
Alright.
Okay. Is that will? Yeah, it'll probably bounce if it doesn't.
I'm pretty sure that'll bounce.
It's a 22.
Let's get the cheating out of the way.
Yes. Yeah.
That's 22.
Yep.
Then we can get back to our totally respectable.
Ah, Mr. Wiggle! What brings you to my humble laboratory today? Thought you'd abandoned the science of deduction for the theatrical arts. The old and wise, white-haired professor seems to have invented an anti-aging potion. He is the same now as he was in the memories of when we met him for the first time. With time, Wiggins has come to understand that Murray knows his name perfectly well, and that the variants he gives them are part of his little delights. There are two domains which are art forms, Professor. You yourself are an artist of criminology. What can you tell us about the murder of Mignon Pierre? Blood, Wiggins. It's the blood which will tell us everything about this case. I'm sure that one day traces of blood will tell us a lot more than what we can already deduce today. But in our day and age, even the slightest trace of blood deserves our attention. And what have these traces revealed to you? I don't know if you've spoken with Meeks yet. The traces of the victim's neck lead us to believe that it was strangulation. However, there's more blood than this type of death usually causes. The cause of death was more probably the blows to the head caused by the bloody cane. But blood was found in 2 places, and even 3 if we count the traces found outside. What else have you found? Only the small derringer found next to the victim found traces of powder on Madame Pierre's hand.
Sorry, what address is he at?
22 Southwest.
He did tell us that Meeks apparently will have something for us, despite the inquest not being until Thursday.
Just so, just so.
Sorry, I gotta write down what he had again. Okay.
Well, that would seem to confirm the theories about guns and cane.
Yes.
Just head over and see what the
Sure.
Meeks entry is for today. That is at 38 EC, I believe.
Take it away.
Okay. Meeks lifts the white sheet covering the body of Mignon Pierre. I was told that she was beautiful, but death isn't kind to beauty, he says somberly. You'll find this interesting, Wiggins, he continues. There are marks on the victim's throat which indicates that she was strangled, but that's not the cause of her death. She died from a blow, or rather many blows to the head. Couldn't she have been struck after being strangled? The blood, Wiggins. If she had died from strangulation, there wouldn't be so much blood on her head. What more can you tell us? I can't estimate the precise time of death, but I'd say it goes back to the beginning of the afternoon. In any case, many hours before the police were called to the scene of the crime.
Huh.
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 So is it possible that she was strangled but not to death? And then...
Interesting.
Like, perhaps someone didn't understand how to properly strangle someone to death.
Maybe. But there was powder on her hand, so she definitely also shot someone that day.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, if I can posit wild theories, because that's always what we're supposed to do.
Yes.
It could be that our original guy did strangle her
Uh-huh.
in his, like
Yes.
anger, and then later she gets up and, like maybe the detective is there, trying to get the evidence on her, perhaps from the safe, because it'll prove something about like maybe the marriage documents or something like that. And then she shoots him, he beats her,
Yes.
not get shot worse, or vice versa. Maybe he attacks her.
Yes.
There's
Distinct possibility.
Yeah, I mean, some of it, but I don't know. Just seems weird that you would strangle someone in your own library and think to get away with it.
Yes.
And just leave the body there and think, oh, it's all going to be fine. Because, I mean, that's the original premise, is that he left with her strangled.
Well,
either-
let's find out. Let's go to the St. James Club and ask about his condition when he arrived.
Okay.
Yeah, because he hasn't actually said what he did.
Yeah.
Where's St. James Club? Oh, you're looking it up.
But it definitely doesn't make sense for her to be strangled after being beaten to death.
Nah, that's... Especially since whoever did that very likely was the person who got shot. They have other priorities at that point, even if they were interested in gratuitous post-death violence.
We're looking for St. James Square Circle.
St. James Square Circle.
Yes. I think. Probably.
The squared circle.
Get some more water.
Yes.
This is upside down.
Where's that gargantuan entry? Ah, here it is.
Sorry, I'm rotating this for the internet.
No,
So
quite
not
all right.
radio.
Actually, come to think of it, I think it's been upside down for the internet.
Oh.
No, you're fine. No, don't do that.
Oh, sorry, internet.
No,
Thames.
yes, anyone knows that the Thames goes this way. Yes, St. Jam's Square.
Circle.
Sure.
I
Hello.
was looking at all the different squares.
There's a lot.
There are, yeah.
A surprising, nay, inconvenient number of them.
Isn't that right, Polo? There's an inconvenient number of squares. Polo knows it.
I swear we've seen it
we've definitely
before.
seen it before.
Somewhere in this neighborhood, I could have sworn.
I
He is a Polo.
There, found it.
Okay. The Baldwin Card Club is right there.
I am going to assume that he went there and not to the library.
Or not to the Diogenes Club. Or
No.
Carlton. No, probably not. I think Carlton's like foodie. Has like food and stuff.
I think the card club is an excellent
Yes.
guess for someone that we know that enjoys a
Indeed.
good hand of whist. Is that what they played back then? Perhaps some baccarat.
Polo! And that's 88.
Would you care to play some baccarat?
My turn, I think?
Yes.
Cool. 88 Southwest.
Do you know how to play baccarat?
No, I don't think I do.
Here's how it works. You get a card, and then if it's not a winner, you can ask for another card. And maybe that one is a winner. And if you didn't get the card that you need to win, you lose. It sucks. It's a bad game. I don't know why it's James Bond's favorite game.
Anyway, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, jeez.
I'm sorry, sir, but this club is reserved to members and their guests. This message, as firm as it is well spoken, was given to us by the club's manager, called in reinforcement by the doorman. I'm sure you wouldn't want to be an obstruction to a murder investigation, answers Wiggins. You could help us by answering a few questions. It's about Clayton Partridge. I can assure you that I have nothing interesting to tell you. He's a longtime member, and he was here yesterday afternoon and evening. I don't understand how the police could suspect such a gentleman. Good day. The manager leaves us to take to the good care of the doorman and goes back to his business, shaking his head. Sorry, boys, you'll have to go now. One last thing, says Wiggins while discreetly slipping a crown in the man's palm. Were you here yourself yesterday?
I'm imagining not like the denomination of a crown, but like just
that
a crown that he had sitting in his inventory. Here, I never wear this.
Okay, one last thing, says Wiggins while doing just that. Were you here yourself yesterday? Yeah, for sure. The pigeon got here around 2. Furious. Made a beeline straight for the bar.
That's not where he is currently, I guess, then.
Well, no, he said he was going to be at his office, I think. That's not his office, that's the club.
Oh no, I was interested, yes,
Oh, okay,
in
okay.
his activities of yesterday.
Yeah.
It sounds like he arrived
I
at 2
didn't
and
know
was
what
in
we
a
were doing.
angry
Oh, sorry.
mood.
It's okay.
Which,
That was good.
William Morris, a solicitor, is at 3 EC. Shall I?
yes.
Get ready to get solved, murder.
3 EC?
3 EC.
Okay.
Oh God, no! He's never. Oh my God, that's not his office. That's his house, because of course that's what's listed in this directory. And so of course his servant says, "He's never at home during the day, young man. Have you tried his office? You'll probably find him there at 68 Old Bond Street."
Alright.
Ugh,
Probably should have looked up
what a fool I am.
solicitor. I'm
Probably.
curious what we actually would have done.
Yeah, solicitor is almost certainly.
William Morris. So what was
Yes.
the actual one?
68 something.
Northwest.
68 northwest.
Alright.
Oh, Mr. Wiggins! The police just arrested Sir Clayton. Do you have fresh news? Damn, says Wiggins. I meant to shoot him in this entry. Nothing very conclusive, sir, I'm afraid. We were hoping that your client would have made some new statements to you. No, the old fogey believes he's invincible. He claims his innocence and supposes that since he says so, no one should even dare doubt his word. Mr. Wiggins, I've known Sir Clayton for many years. The Baronet has a fiery temper, but I can't believe he's killed a woman. And the Clayton Partridge I know would confess his crime if he had done it. I must go to the Old Bailey. We'll do our best, Mr. Morris. You can be sure of it.
Well, let's go to the Old Bailey.
Let's do it.
Okay.
We haven't been there in a while either.
We'll sit here.
Let's go let them know that they've arrested the correct man.
Well, this is while you're at Old Bailey Court.
Yes, that's the one.
Oh boy. Transposed. 36 EC.
Try to remember the words that you've just read.
Yes.
Not even words. It's just like
Letters.
it's just some alphanumerics.
Okay.
Yeah. Here we go. Wiggins, I hope you've found proof to clear my client. We're greeted by Edward Hall barely a moment after having come into the buildings of the Central Penal Court. You're talking about Sir Clayton. Yes, the police arrested him earlier, and Morris has hired my services. There is a lot of evidence against him, but clues can be deceptive. What is your client telling you? He maintains that Mignon Pierre was left alive when he left the library, or in the library. He continues to tell me that my questions regarding his private life can remain unanswered. When he realizes the gravity of the situation, he'll certainly tell me more, but at the moment he remains thick-headed in his attitude. He's not used to being manipulated.
What a dunce.
Yeah, I was actually in the process of writing Sir Clayton as a dummy for what we learned at the court.
Yes.
That is...
I mean, dude, you've been arrested. It's not working.
Well, this was during a time when the nobility were not accustomed to subjecting themselves to the whims of the common people. Certainly not for something like the law. I've got a suggestion. If Ms. Pierre has caused trouble before, perhaps the French embassy would know something about her.
That's very likely.
The French embassy can, of course, be found at 59 Southwest.
Indeed. Okay. Let's see. Okay. 59 Southwest. Alright. This is already good. At the embassy, Alfred Daudet ignores Wiggins' extended hand and greets him with a knocking of heels and a slight motion of the head. Daudet's outfit is impeccable, from his small gilded-framed glasses to his carefully waxed boots, including his perfect Oxford accent. "What can I do for you?" asked Daudet. "What can you tell us about Mignon Pierre? The woman found murdered?" "Yes. At the request of Scotland Yard, I searched our archives and discovered that she had a most sulphurous reputation in our own country. She was wanted for bigamy. She had married at least 3 men, all rich and old, before fleeing while taking everything that she could carry. The last one on the list even put an end to his days about a month ago, not being able to stand the dishonor and being ruined. We won't miss this woman much in Paris."
I saw this, as a matter of fact, in the paper dated September 16th, 1898. Suicide of a rich French industrialist. Dubois Enterprises are now orphaned following the suicide of its leader, Jacques Dubois. The financial crisis has once again struck all layers of society.
Wait, Dubois, wasn't that the detective's name?
Yes.
Yeah, that's not a detective.
No, it's not.
I think we just found our murderer almost for certain.
I think you're right.
Honestly, I kind of feel like we might be able to solve it on that alone.
Maybe.
I mean, the strangling versus the caning thing is a little dicey still, but that feels like one of those things we might not easily sort out anyway. Because there were no witnesses to it other than people who are in jail and aren't talking to anyone, or the person we already talked to, or dead people.
Alright, so here's what we're supposing happened.
Okay.
Filet Mignon goes to the Baronet's estate, demanding the money that he was cheated out of, but now owes her. He refuses to pay and gets outraged, attacks her, strangles her, doesn't kill her, leaves her unconscious on the floor of the library. He takes off, goes to the club, hangs out there for the rest of the afternoon. Later...
He's like, I'm really mad, time to get drunk.
Yes. Young Dubois shows up having followed her there.
Yep.
Sneaks in. Kills her,
Using a cane.
but not before she wakes up and has the opportunity to shoot him. One or the other of them has tried to get into the safe. Maybe she woke up and tried to get into it and got interrupted by him.
Alternately, he may be looking for documents that prove that she's swindling this guy.
Yes,
He
absolutely.
may have actually come here just to find evidence on her latest mark.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It sounds awfully cold-blooded for someone whose family member just killed themselves, though. I
Yeah.
kind of like the idea better that he
He's
actually
coming
was
in here
intending to kill her.
Yeah, to kill her.
Although, the fact that he didn't bring his own weapon actually does count against that a
Yes,
little bit.
absolutely. If he,
Especially as a private eye, he could have easily had a gun.
I imagine that he probably just acted out of opportunity.
Possibly, maybe he saw, hey,
A woman that's ruined his family's life and is pointing a gun at him,
and hey, there's a cane here, and I'm in someone else's
and
house.
you're in someone else's
I'm
house.
very likely to get away with this if I do this now.
Yes.
Yeah, and you know, alternate theory on the safe, it could be that even he opened the safe himself. I mean, she has successfully extorted several other gentlemen. It's possible she was able to succeed here.
It's true.
Yeah, I mean, she could have just. She could have also woke up and been going through the safe to get her money that she believes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Actually, I like the extortion angle a lot better now that I know they're married.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
that was not public knowledge. If it turns out, hey, you married this woman who was actually just ripping you off at cards. That's,
Right.
Yeah, I can buy that.
Makes a lot more sense, right?
Yeah. So she came to him and was like, yeah, you're still going to give me more stuff because I'm going to believe that we're married if you don't. We're going to go solve it?
I think so.
All right.
I think we're going to solve this in record time.
Yeah, it's like still daylight outside.
It is.
Wow.
Okay.
Not by much, but a little.
Well, we can solve the next mystery.
Oh.
The first series has 3 questions.
Oh, okay.
Here's the first question.
Yeah.
Who killed Mignon Pierre?
Whoa.
What was his actual full name?
Paul Dubois, I think.
Okay, well, we know who he meant. I'm not going to dock us points on that.
2. Why?
Compelled relative to suicide?
Yes.
We don't actually know the family connection.
And he was tracking her down.
Relative to suicide.
3. What is the murder weapon?
A cane.
Cane.
Yes. The best of all starting weapons.
Indeed. Alright.
There are 3 questions in the second series of questions.
Alright.
Number 4. Where is Roger Prescott hiding?
We did kind of forget about him, but... Roger Prescott. Actually, yeah, him being shot makes sense. If we already had noted that he hadn't
I think I
gotten
know
up
where he's
before.
hiding.
Where?
With his dad.
Yeah, he's probably hiding with his dad.
Because he drove there and his dad said he hadn't seen him.
Yep. And that was the first thing out of his mouth, practically.
Yep.
With Carl. Okay.
5. What link is there between Mignon Pierre and Sir Clayton?
They're
Marriage.
married.
They're married.
My way.
6. Which singer used to date Sir Clayton?
Who cares? Well, okay, we have a newspaper with a bunch of theater stuff. Maybe it's something we can compel from that.
Wait, hold on. What was today's paper? This one.
Somewhere in there.
You put it in the old ones.
I didn't know how to read.
Grumbles.
I mean, presumably they're on top of the old ones.
It wasn't. The first one's from the 16.
Oh, well then, in that case, I threw them away.
Okay, I found it. It was in the middle of the old ones.
Okay.
Let's see. There
But
was...
I looked through all the papers looking for some mention of Sir Clayton, and I didn't find anything, so... I think this is probably a lead that Langdale probably would have had to have told us about.
You're
That,
probably right.
Eh, we can skip it. We actually were pretty low on lead count for once.
yeah.
Alright.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Here we go. Wiggins paces nervously in front of the fireplace. We've been waiting for Sherlock Holmes, the star of the show, and Sir William Morris, the solicitor, to arrive for over an hour, but for the moment there is no sign of them. Wiggins tosses the remains of another cigarette into the fire and badly masks his anxiety. I don't know what I'll tell them when they get here. Oh, did Wiggins shoot a guy? And before anyone has time to answer, the door opens and Holmes enters. Well, then, my friends, I hope you've had luck today, Holmes tells us. He throws his overcoat on the already quite encumbered coat holder and joins Wiggins in front of the fire. Judging by your look, Wiggins, your day seems to have been unfruitful. Unexpected, rather, sir, unexpected. Before Wiggins has time to expound his statement, the door opens again and Sir William Morris and Edward Hall enter. I'm happy to see you've returned with better dispositions towards us, Mr. Holmes, enunciates Sir Edward Hall. Wiggins intervenes. If Holmes acted as he did and ignored Sir Clayton, it's because he didn't think he could get anything interesting out of him. Leaving it that way would probably make him commit a mistake, completes Holmes with a smile, leaving Wiggins to continue with his reasoning. His testimony on the money demanded by Mignon Pierre didn't hold any water, and Sir Clayton's reaction was more akin to that of a spurned lover than a cheated player. So William Morris is on the verge of choking. How... Holmes doesn't let him finish and starts his expose, starting with the scene of the crime, a source rich in information, a devoted and discreet staff, traces of blood which seemed to indicate a struggle, the flight of a mysterious aggressor. I needed to understand the message left by those traces, and Murray helped me translate it. After the departure of Sir Clayton, a stranger, furious, entered through the garden and into the office. He discovered Mignon Pierre taking an interest in our Baronet's safe and attempted to strangle her. But the lady was resourceful and managed to pull out a weapon and fire on our stranger, who grabbed Sir Clayton's cane and struck Mignon Pierre lethally before fleeing. A stranger? For the moment. And I must admit that Madame Pierre seemed to be the kind of woman to have many enemies, so I decided to get more information about her gambling circle and met Mr. Heathcliff, whom we know had revealed the cheating that took place there. Without knowing it, he pointed me to a capital lead. It was not very probable for a gentleman to kill Mignon Pierre for a gambling debt. And this confirmed to me that the interests of Sir Clayton for Mignon were beyond that of gambling, and he had her followed. A private detective, following the victim day and night. It was fortunate for our case. There are many detectives in London. That's true. But I simply suppose that Sir Clayton had gone to the nearest, and that's how I came to visit Todd's private enquiries. He handed me what I was expecting, the name of the person who was prowling in the shadow of Mignon Pierre, Mr. Dubois. The French detective, what would his motive be? One of her spurned lovers? I'm afraid that Madame Pierre prefers them less young. Dubois had many other reasons to commit that crime. The French sound of the name, as well as the French adventures of Mignon Pierre, thus led me to the French embassy. There, I learned that Madame Pierre wasn't at her first feat of arms. In her race to fortune, she had created many victims, the most recent one to date being a certain Jacques Dubois, who, not supporting such a disgrace, put an end to his days. Suppose that man is his son, thirsty for vengeance. There are certainly many Dubois in France, objects Wiggins. Certainly, continues Holmes, but not all of them are currently suffering from a bullet wound. During my visit to Dubois, even if I have to admit that he perfectly played the part, I noticed that he wasn't moving from his sofa. He must still be there at this time, and I'm willing to bet that he got the mark of a wound inflicted by Madame Pierre's derringer. If the bird hasn't already flown the coop, maybe it would be better for him, says Holmes. Whatever the case, we have enough information to clear your client, gentlemen. He turns to William Morris and Edward Hall. Another question, Mr. Holmes, continues Morris. I don't understand why this young man committed that crime at my client's residence. It probably wasn't premeditated, replies Holmes. In fact, Sir Clayton simply gave him an opportunity by leaving Madame Pierre alone in the house. Dubois certainly must have been waiting for days for an occasion of the sort. but Madame Pierre was always accompanied either by your client or her alleged brother, Roger Prescott. Dubois therefore seized his chance, heedless of the risks and consequences. Holmes solved the case with 6 leads: Clayton, Murray, Heathcliff, Todd, Charpentier,
Sharpie.
French Embassy, and the newspaper entry on Jacques Dubois' suicide.
In that case, we start in the hole a relatively meager -45.
Not bad, not bad, not bad. Who killed Madame Mignon?
Filet mignon.
Yeah, filet
Steak's
mignon.
the steak lady.
Who ate the steak?
Paul Dubois.
Paul Dubois, 40 points. Why?
She compelled a
Revenge!
Yeah.
40 points.
Nice.
What was the murder weapon?
Cane.
20 points. Where's Roger Prescott?
With Carl.
Yes, 15 points.
Okay.
What is the relationship between the steak and the baronet?
Marriage.
Marriage! 15 points.
Okay.
Who else dated that man? Emilio Lorenzo!
Our total is 85.
Yes!
Talk about ending on a high note.
Seriously,
I think that's
congratulations,
the highest one of the
gentlemen.
whole series.
Good game.
Good game.
Well done.
Yay.
We did it.
We detected.
We detected so good.
We did.
Man.
We got good at it just as we ran out of cases.
Well, we just have to preserve, because supposedly there's another expansion coming later this year for this very game, which would be great. Because I like playing 6/10 of this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think we can all agree that these past 6 cases, pretty good.
These six have been as good as the original 10.
I think so. Now, I will say that I'm pretty sure that there was another mystery somewhere early in the first box that was also this person made a relative of mine commit suicide, and I've come here for vengeance.
Yeah.
So this seems to have tread some similar kind of area.
A little.
But that's fine. We still did a super good job. But yeah, the Jack the Ripper stuff. No. It was not. It was putting aside the unpleasantness. They were not good mysteries.
No.
And they were not fun to participate in.
Yeah, it was. I think that. My main beef from the game design standpoint.
Yeah.
The unclarity of the goal.
It was so unclear.
It would have been great if they'd set out a goal for each one. Like, okay, this time you're trying to figure out X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
Because with all of these, it's obvious you're trying to solve the thing, but
Yeah.
you knew you weren't going to be doing that in the
And then
first
even
3.
when we got to the 4th case, we still didn't even realize, are we trying to figure out who is Jack the Ripper? Is that what we're trying to do here? It did not. It was not.
And frankly, the unpleasantness, we said brush it aside. I'm not entirely as willing to brush it aside because it was frankly kind of out of character for the game to go that Dark Lord. It went Dark Lord. Let's just be frank.
It was a very, very different attitude than we've come to expect from a game that honestly gives us a murder pretty much every week.
Yeah, I mean, I could even forgive the gruesome details it gave about the murder, but the Dark Lord stuff was not limited to the gruesome details of the murder. I mean,
Sure.
It was just pretty
dire. I think I'm willing to forgive a certain amount of that because I think what they were trying to do was they were trying to be faithful to the memory of the people that had been murdered, and by not brushing that aside because they were absolutely murdered for being women and for being working women. So
that's fair, but it's just definitely a giant difference of tone.
It is, absolutely.
Else. That's the main problem.
It absolutely should have had some sort of a content warning or something like that before we dove in.
It did.
Maybe.
In fact, I'm almost certain it did because I remember reading it.
Yeah, I think I remember us specifically talking to the audience about it.
Well, no,
I
think there was a reading. I think there was a warning in the content itself on the first mystery. It's like, hey, these are pretty gruesome.
Well, shucks.
Which they were.
They were. But the rest of it, just fine. I would love to play some more.
Oh, yeah.
What we're playing next is still a little bit up in the air. We're actually going to take next week off. We're taking next week, as you know, off for Dungeons & Dragons. We're also going to take the week off for board games. We're just going to take a little bit of time, recenter, just relax. I mean, most of us will be working for a period of time, but, you know, as far as like board games are concerned, we're going to take a break from all the fun that we're having. But then we're going to figure out what it is that we're going to play. After that, we might return to Eldritch Horror for a little bit, or we might pick up something new. We will see. As always, watch Twitter and Facebook for updates there. Thank you so much to those of you that have subscribed. It is much, much appreciated. I am deliberating spending part of my extended weekend doing some kind of additional stream or something like that to celebrate the fact that we've got affiliate subs now. Again, if you're interested in knowing whether or not that's going to happen, follow on Twitter or Facebook, because that's where I post that kind of stuff. Good game.
Good game.
Thank you guys for playing. Thank you, Istari, for publishing this expansion. I can't wait to play the next one. Have a great night.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye-bye.